The Lord our refuge, God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Psalm 46, when there are places you run when the world becomes too much, a favorite chair, a trusted friend, a memory that comforts. But every human refuge has a limit. The chair cannot solve your problems. The friend cannot always be available. The memory fades. You have learned, perhaps the hard way, that even the safest earthly shelters eventually crack. There is only one refuge that never fails, never weakens, never closes its doors. That refuge is the Lord Himself. To call God your refuge is to declare that He is your hiding place, your sanctuary, your fortress. It means that when the storms of life rage, when fear attacks, when loss crushes, when uncertainty paralyzes, you have somewhere to run. Not to a philosophy, not to a distraction, not to a coping mechanism, but to a person. A person who is strong enough to shield you, wise enough to guide you, and loving enough to never turn you away. Think of a young child frightened by a thunderstorm. She does not run to a manual on meteorology. She does not analyze the statistical probability of being struck by lightning. She runs to her father. She buries her face in his chest. She feels his arms wrap around her, hears his heartbeat, and the terror begins to subside. Not because the storm has stopped, but because she is no longer facing it alone. That is what it means to make God your refuge. The psalmist writes that God is an ever-present help in trouble, not a help who is sometimes available, not a help who arrives after the crisis has passed. Ever-present, right now, in this exact moment of your struggle, He is already there. You do not need to beg Him to show up. You do not need to climb a mountain to find Him. He is as close as your breath, as near as your whispered prayer. His help is not delayed. It is immediate, not distant. It is intimate. The world offers many refuges that are not refuges at all. Money promises security, but vanishes like a dream. Reputation promises respect, but crumbles under a single rumor. Relationships promise belonging, but can fracture without warning. Your own strength promises self-sufficiency, but runs dry at the worst possible moment. None of these can bear the full weight of your fear. Only God can. But here is the beautiful mystery. God does not simply give refuge. He is your refuge. You do not run to a place, you run to a person. And that person is not offended by your fear, your questions, or your desperation. He invites you to come. He welcomes you to hide. He promises to cover you with His feathers, to shelter you under His wings, to be your fortress and your deliverer. How do you make the Lord your refuge in practical, everyday life? You run to Him first, not last. When the wave of anxiety rises, you do not reach for your phone or your escape. You reach for prayer. When the news brings bad tidings, you do not spiral into worst-case scenarios. You whisper His name. When the enemy accuses, you do not argue with him. You hide in the truth of who God is and who you are in Christ. The refuge is not a place you visit after everything else fails. It is the first place you go. Making God your refuge also means you stop trying to be your own refuge. You are not strong enough to hold yourself together. You are not wise enough to navigate every storm. You were never meant to be. The invitation is not to become your own fortress, but to dwell in His. Pride says, I can handle this. Wisdom says, I need to hide in Him. The one who runs to God is not weak. They are wise. They know where true safety is found. And here is the promise that anchors your soul. He is an ever-present help. Not He was a help in the past. Not He will be a help someday. He is a help now, in this trouble, in this heartbreak, in this impossible situation. His help may not look like what you expected. It may not remove the problem immediately, but it is help nonetheless. Sometimes the help is strength to endure. Sometimes it is peace to wait. Sometimes it is a door that opens. Sometimes it is the ability to trust when the door remains closed. But it is always, always help. You do not need to be brave. You need to be hidden. You do not need to have all the answers. You need to know the one who does. You do not need to calm the storm. You need to rest in the shelter of the one who calms the storm with a word. Today, whatever trouble you are facing, whether it roars like a hurricane or whispers like a shadow, run to your refuge. Do not delay. Do not try to handle it yourself one more minute. Turn your heart toward Him. Say, Lord, I am afraid. I am tired. I am overwhelmed. You are my refuge. Hide me in the shadow of your wings. He will answer. He always answers, not always with explanation, but always with presence. And his presence is enough. The Lord is your refuge, not a building, not a belief system, not a formula, a person. And that person is strong, faithful, and near. Run to him, hide in him, rest in him. You are safe, not because the storm has passed, but because the refuge is with you in the storm. And he has never lost anyone who came to him for shelter. He will not start with you.